Have you always wanted to write a novel? Have you just always wondered how people do it, how people write it, how you get to that point and not give up? Well, I wrote a novel last year, and these are the things that are essential if you want to get to that point and finish the book. Hello! Welcome back, or welcome if you're new. I'm Zara and I'm a disability advocate, content creator, musician, and I'm a writer. Last year I wrote an entire book. I wrote 50,000 words in the month of November, which means I successfully completed this challenge called Nanowrimo. Now, Nanowrimo is a challenge, I'm not sure who created it, I will have to research that, but it's a challenge created for writers and people who want to write books, and it's basically where you write 50,000 words in the month of November. November is National Novel Writing Month, so that's where the Nano comes from. National Novel Writing Month. Nanowrimo. Quite clever actually. This writing, the 50,000 words, can be any genre. It can be a book, it can just be personal writing. The challenge is just to write 50,000 of those words, or if you can't do that, you can just set your own goal and track it using that. Nanowrimo, the website, does actually have tracking built in so that you can create your own goals and track it in the app using all the graphs. For your own projects, you can set your own goals anytime in the year. The Nanowrimo challenge with the 50k as a goal, that is specifically a global challenge that is in November. But yes, I completed that. I successfully wrote the 50,000 words in the 30 days of November, and I now have a complete first draft of the manuscript of my novel. Being a successful completer of the challenge, I wanted to share all my tips for successfully writing a book in 30 days. I'm also, as I said, a disability advocate. I'm disabled, I have a chronic illness, and I'm also neurodivergent, so these tips are really good for anybody who is also neurodivergent. If you struggle with time management, or if you struggle with health, or anything that gets in the way of your day-to-day life, it can be difficult to schedule things and to keep on track of challenges like this. So I'm going to include some tips that will also help you. I am completing this year. Again, I'm going to write another book. This time I'm writing kind of a memoir about me and my health and my journey, so that's going to be really fun. I'm writing non-fiction for the first time. I'm really excited for that, so if you want to join me and also do Nanowrimo, use these tips, and it starts today, the 1st of November. Good luck, and I hope these help. Tip number 1, plan your story. Whether you're doing non-fiction or if you're writing a fictional story, it doesn't matter the genre, you need to plan. There's a scale that people who participate in Nanowrimo use, and basically a planner plans every single bit of it. They do plot outlines, chapter outlines, you plan, and then you write from your plan. There's the flip side of that, I think it's called pantser, or a panther, where you don't plan. You kind of have an idea for a story, but you just write, and you just pick up the blank page and write, and you have no idea where the story's going. Now, I used to think I was on that side, but in reality, planning helps so much. Even if you don't want to lay out a chapter outline for all of your book, and you'd rather just see where it goes, please make plans anyway so that you know that your story is going to be a whole thing, or plan your characters. Just write down all the information you can about your book because it is going to help you throughout the process. I like to create an outline of my story with like an idea dump where I just put down all my ideas, all my characters, anything I can think of that helps. I put down all the details and put it into folders or lists or however your brain works, and that is there for whenever I'm writing in the story and I'm describing a character or a place, and I need to make sure that it is the same throughout the book. So instead of having to go back and like search through my whole manuscript to try and find out what that character looks like or how they talk, or little specific details about them or the setting or something about the plot or the magic system, all those things are in my plan and I can just refer back to that when I'm writing. It doesn't matter if you stick to this directly or not, but having that plan makes it feel so much more doable. You're not sat staring at the blank page thinking, oh my god, what do I write? Instead, you're staring at a bullet point list or a plan or an outline, and you know exactly where your story needs to go. So all you're doing is looking at the bullet point and writing a little chapter essay on that thing. This is tip 1.5. A little bonus tip is get to know your characters. This also kind of comes under planning, but using Pinterest will be your absolute best friend. If you don't have an account, go make an account. Having a writing account on Pinterest is honestly life-changing. I save a board, which is kind of like a mood board, like a folder of pictures that I just save for each character, each setting. So if I want to write about that place, I don't have to think about it in my head and risk it changing throughout the book. I just look at the photos and I spend quite a lot of time getting inspiration and putting it together in this little folder, and then I just refer back to that. So if I'm writing a scene about a specific place or a forest, or if I need inspiration for a character, I just head over there and I have a whole folder of inspiration and planning, and I can see it so I can describe it a lot better. Pinterest also has things like dialogue prompts, writing tips, words, vocabulary, all that sort of things. Try and plan and get inspiration for that. It's a really good time to do that before Nanowrimo. A little bit late if you're watching this video this year. If you're watching this just for how to write a novel and you're not participating this year, I would highly suggest doing all this planning for Nanowrimo in October, which is called PrepTober for this challenge. And it's a really good time just to get this whole big bank of things about your novel, and having all this preparation and planning and notes just really helps create like a solid base and foundation, so it's easier to actually complete the project. Tip number 2 is plan your time. I know this is a lot of planning. It might seem daunting, but trust me, doing little bits at a time, it really does help. So stick with me. It doesn't matter how dedicated you are, you need to schedule time to write. Just wanting to write a book will not write you a book. And that might sound harsh, that might not be a nice thing to hear, but what I've learned is just wanting to do it and really feeling passionately about a book will not make it appear. To write a whole manuscript is a really big job. It doesn't matter how talented you are or how quick you write. Writing an entire book is pretty difficult. It's an entire massive project that could take a year or longer. So in order to get it done, you need to schedule time to write. Whether you stick to it or not, you need to make sure that you have time set aside to actually get the project done, because time really quickly flies away, and if you don't make sure that you have the time and you work around your schedule to put that time in, your time will just slip away from you and you won't get it done. Just finding half an hour in a lunch break or setting aside 1 hour each evening to write or work on your book really makes the word count add up, and it does just make it feel like it's always continuing and growing. And if you do all these little sections, it really does add up to create your whole manuscript, and it helps you get closer to your goal. Using writing sprints is really, really useful for this. If you don't know what a writing sprint is, you've never heard of it before, it's a very popular thing that people do in Nanowrimo. You set a timer, whether it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or half an hour. It's kind of like the Pomodoro method for studying, but writing. You set a timer. Usually I wouldn't do over like 25-30 minutes because you need a break in order to reset your mind, or you're not going to be as productive. But you set that timer, you sit down, write, you turn everything else off, put your phone away, put everything else away, and just write. It doesn't matter how shit the thing is that you're writing, you just need to get the words out. And even if you only write a few hundred words in 15 minutes, if you do that once or twice a day for an entire month, you've actually got thousands of words that are counting towards your finished goal. Tip number 3 is find a community. This really helped. I always wanted to write a book, but before I found the Nanowrimo challenge and the website and the trackers and the groups and all this big community that I didn't even know existed, I didn't feel like I had a goal. I didn't have a community of people who were doing it, so I didn't have the inspiration. Whether it's Nanowrimo or just a writing group, a book club, finding community wherever it is really helps you finish your goal. It really helps you find tips. Things like just watching this video. There will be people in the comments, or in my Discord server we have a writing channel. There are always people online who are willing to chat about writing. There's fellow writers, there are people that are in a similar spot to you, there's people who have finished books. Talk to people, find community, and you might even find a Nanowrimo group nearby. They do have on the website where you can search by region. I found a group near me that actually do in-person meetups all the time, so I'm going to go to those this year. And it's just really nice to have people doing the same thing because it helps push you along. If you see them succeeding and giving out tips, it really makes you feel part of a community, and I feel like that's really important when you're trying to get to a goal because it can feel lonely and it just helps you feel like you're not alone going into it. Tip number 4 is put your phone away. Phones are distracting. Notifications are literally designed to grab our attention so that we forget what we're doing and we're sucked into the phone and then we can't get out of it again. Trust me, if your phone is there, you will get distracted. Whether you turn it off, I don't care, put it on silent, turn it fully off, like power it off, put it in a drawer. I actually do this. I put my phone in a drawer so that I forget about it, because if it is there, I will check it, or if I see a notification up, I will check it, and then I'll be scrolling for half an hour, and then my time's gone, and the writing time I set aside has been used for something else, and then my manuscript isn't growing. It's very frustrating, but it happens to all of us. When I tell you just put your phone away, please do it, for the love of God. It will help you, and you will thank me later. Another tip that I use is set up like a time lapse or film yourself so that you feel like you can't stop what you're doing. I do this obviously for my videos, but actually filming videos of me writing really helps me write because I sit down and I have to carry on writing, otherwise it messes up the shot. But doing like a time lapse on your phone, every single iPhone can do it, that can help because you can't grab your phone because it will interrupt the time lapse. It's an idea, it might work for you, it might not, but whatever you need to do to keep yourself focused and get rid of distractions, do it. Put the stuff in place and get writing. Last tip, tip number 5, is don't worry about making mistakes. This is the first draft. I don't know, if you're writing your second draft then this maybe doesn't apply. As long as you're not editing your book, if you're writing, especially the first draft, just write. It doesn't matter if you make mistakes. The first draft is there just to get your ideas down, get the full manuscript done. It is not there to be perfect. Editing comes afterwards, second drafts exist for a reason. It doesn't even matter if you've got grammatical mistakes. You can come back and change it later. Definitely don't worry about things like plot holes because they will come up when you reread your draft. That is the point of writing draft 1. You have to have something there in order to make it better. This is just to put the first draft down. That is literally all you're doing. It does not matter how good it is, how bad it is. It's all subjective. Just write down your ideas. Forget about it. Don't go back and edit sections while you're writing them. I don't care if you notice a mistake or you don't like the way you've written it and you know that you want to write it differently. Don't go back and edit straight away because you will get stuck doing that throughout the whole process and you'll never move forward in the manuscript because you'll be stuck redrafting and redrafting that one chapter. You just need to get the first rough draft done and then you can edit later. If you think of things you do want to change and you don't want to forget about them, do what I do and make a checklist of things that you want to change in the second draft. I can just follow that and when I come to that point I can change it and all my ideas are already there. But yes, those are my main tips for writing a novel in the 30 days. This applies to just writing a novel in general, but if you're on a time constraint or you're doing the challenge, these definitely help. But just don't be too hard on yourself. Writing a novel is a damn hard thing to do. Especially if you're doing it for the first time or you haven't written before. Just be kind to yourself. Allow yourself to make mistakes. You are going to make them and it's fine. It is never going to be perfect the first round and it doesn't have to be. All the planning that you do is going to help you, but also don't worry if you don't stick to the plan or these tips don't quite work for you or you make mistakes. It's a process. Practice does make progress. Obviously, if you're neurodivergent or you have health issues like I do, it's really difficult for us disabled people to stick to a time schedule. Things happen, health gets in the way, you might not be well enough, so don't put yourself down if you can't make the time limit or that things get in the way, because that's life. Things happen. Good luck for anybody doing Nanowrimo. It starts today, so you still have time to do it. Even if you start in a few days, you just have to write more every single day. But if you do want to write it, I think the word count is 1,600 words per day if you want to split it evenly over the 30 days. So get planning, get scheduling, and good luck. I'm going to be making some videos, maybe mashed into my vlogs, or maybe I'll do specific videos I'm writing, but I'm going to document my journey of writing my novel, my non-fiction book about me. I'm going to be sharing videos about that all through this month as I'm writing, so I wish you luck for it. I'll be documenting my journey too, and happy writing. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you did like it. Let me know if you want me to make more writing content because I'd love to give more tips and share more things about this because it's one of my biggest hobbies. I love writing and I love making content. But yeah, I will see you on Sunday for another video, 5 PM, and I hope you have a lovely, lovely day. Bye.